Greetings, fellow Watford fans. Omar here, and it's time for the Orns 10-minute take on Millwall 3, Watford nil. Well, this is going to be a very quick take because really all you need to know about this match is that Watford did not come prepared. They did not come prepared to play. They did not come prepared to give of themselves a proper effort. They did not give an effort in this game. That's really the end of story. The first half epitomized what we've seen so often this season from Watford on the pitch. A very, very non-committal attitude toward winning. In fact, a very non-committal attitude toward putting in even the slightest of efforts that would at least convey to the supporter base that you, as players, are trying to do something to win the match. Watford were not up for it, were not interested. And Slaven Bilic had indeed called for his Watford side to be more aggressive, to carry confidence into this match off the back of the 2-1 victory over Norwich City last Saturday night. But they completely ignored their manager. And that is not something that they have not done before because the manager at this club has changed so often. And with the same remit being offered to these players, the same non committal attitude comes from these players who tonight disgraced the badge yet again as they allowed Millwall to have their way. Now, Millwall, full credit to Millwall. They deserved the victory. They were well deserving of the 3-0 win. That 3-0 win coming from a hat trick from Tom Bradshaw, who scored each of his goals in a 25-minute span in the first half before the 33rd minute mark was up. Watford were already down 3-0 to that Tom Bradshaw hat trick. Here's how it happened. The 8th minute of the game saw Matty Pollock, who started the game for Watford, hadn't started for Watford this season in the Championship before this game, starting for Watford in defense. And he, for reasons known only to him, facing his own goal, not knowing what's around him, not knowing what's behind him, headed the ball, attempted to head the ball back to William Troost-Ekong in defense. But of course, you never do that as a defender when you do not know what's behind you. What you do is head the ball out into the stands, head the ball into touch, head the ball away for a corner. Do not do anything but those things when your back is to the attacking players who are bearing down on your goal and you are in front of your own goal. You never try to head the ball back into an open area to your defender. That is trouble all the way. And what happened was that Matty Pollock, who happened to be the young player of the year at Cheltenham Town last season in a season-long loan there, did not learn that lesson. And he really got caught tonight in this match because Tom Bradshaw, who will never, ever take a day off when it comes to trying to score goals, did so, pinching the ball from Matty Pollock. The ball was not effectively headed back, and it was Tom Bradshaw who closed down, got the ball, lashed it past Daniel Backman into the far corner of the back of the net. That was Millwall 1-0. And that was game over, done and dusted for Millwall. But for good measure, Tom Bradshaw came in again with a second goal, a poorly cleared and poorly dealt with ball. In fact, no defender tracked Tom Bradshaw bearing in on goal. And you would have thought that the Watford defense would have shown any kind of inclination whatsoever to track the runner, as they have done so often this season and last season. Didn't track the runner, didn't pay attention, didn't run with the runner, did not disrupt the runner, did not close down on the runner, did not do any of the sort. And as a result, in the back door, it was Millwall again 2-0. And that man, Tom Bradshaw, making it 2-0, just smashing the ball home at extremely close range for a 2-0 lead. And then just minutes after that, a long ball not dealt with by the Watford defense. There's a theme here with the Watford defense. And lo and behold, Bradshaw got his hat trick after just 33 minutes and in a 25-minute stretch of that first half. Done and dusted with Watford, toasted and roasted by Millwall. And that trip to southeast London to Bermondsey at the Den in the middle of the week, not a good one for Watford. Watford in the second half had signs of life. They scored, well, they didn't score anything, but they showed is the word, aptitude, and a little bit about them in the second half for about 10 minutes. Enjoyed a lot more possession, were much more fluid, but the problem with Watford and the problem for Watford was the end product was poor. The end product was poor, and the decision making was even poorer. And as a result of those two things, Watford absolutely did not do anything with the possession. And they had a lot of spells in the second half where they did have a lot more possession, but they didn't do anything with it. So who cares? Who cares that they had more possession? If you don't have end product, if you don't have quality, if you don't have good decision making, you are not going to get anything out of these games. The only shot on target that Watford had in the second half of this game was from Matty Pollock right at the end of the game, a header that was saved. But that was the only thing that Watford registered in that second half. And they brought on Carlu and João Pedro, who provided a bit more energy and sharpness and life. But really, they were really men on an island tonight in this game against Millwall. Also, Espria, who started the game, was lively. And I think that he offered something, but really nothing else from any of the other players. And the biggest and worst news of the night, even more devastating than this 3-0 defeat, the Watford's worst defeat of the season, was the game seeing the departure of Imran Louza after just 17 and a half minutes. He had to be stretchered off with what looked like an ankle injury at the moment. As of the time I'm recording this, there is no news that has been released yet on the well-being of Imran Louza or just how severe the injury was and how long, if any, time he will be out for. It's a bitter blow. It's a massive blow for Watford, and especially for Imran Louza, who had been out of contention, out of action for almost 6 months as a result of a knee injury that he suffered in the Premier League with Watford last season. He worked so extremely hard to rehab himself back into health, and for just 4 games was he available for Watford before he got injured again. He was a very valuable player for this Watford side. He got man of the match twice in those 4 games, and he scored as well. 2 games in a row he scored for Watford, managing to score at not against Norwich most recently after missing a penalty. Imran Louza provided a difference on that pitch. He was the most significant player for Watford because he really changed the balance of things in some of these games and a lot of these games, in just the 4 games that he played. And now we could be without him for a significant period of time. We will not find out that until a bit later on. By the time you watch this video, you might already know what that news is. But as I record this, there's no word yet on his health and how he's doing. Above all, I hope and wish for a speedy recovery for Imran Louza. My heart really goes out to him. Very difficult scenario for him right now. And this absence for him will be very, very severe, I think. I hope I'm wrong. But at the same time, bad news for Imran Louza. As you may know by now, he was charged by the FA for misconduct in allegedly spitting on a Swansea City player a couple of weeks ago at Vicarage Road during Watford's loss to the Swans. And now, with the injury, it's going to be really, really painful for Imran Louza. He could face a 6-match ban, and it's likely that he will. He has a certain amount of time to answer the charge by the FA, and if they do not find that satisfactory, they will punish him for a 6-game ban. So that would come after however long it is that he'll be out for, and that just will be curtains for Watford this season with any kind of promotion hopes. And yes, I do think that Louza makes that much of a difference to this side, a side that's already got a very thin squad in it at large, and it's going to be a very difficult, tough, long haul now for Watford as they slump to defeat here now, their 5th defeat of the season. And Millwall dominated the game and deservedly won it. They run out 3-0 winners. Millwall were competitive. They had a vision. They had a plan. They had cohesion. They played like a team. They played like they cared, for goodness sakes. And so credit to Millwall, 100%. They were well deserving of the victory. Watford were lucky that it was not more than 3-0. And Millwall ran out 3-0 winners, their 3rd consecutive victory. So for them, it was a very good night. For Watford, a disastrous night. And when Watford booed off these Watford players at halftime, the Watford fans in attendance booed those players off. They deserved every single boo that they got. And I think they should have been able and should have walked home from Bermondsey all the way back to Hertfordshire, 26 miles that it is. That's an equivalent of a marathon. And I'm sure Watford players could have done that tonight, but they didn't. Certainly not on the pitch. This has been the Orns 10-minute take.